So we're going to look at, this is not in your book, tips, tax, and commission. So problem number one, your bill at a restaurant comes to $24.50. You decide to tip 16%. What is the final bill? So we know tip, when we tip somebody at a restaurant, that price gets added on to what our bill was. So in order to find the tip, we would find 16% of $24.50. You guys are getting pretty adept at working with the decimals, the percent stuff now. So 16%, maybe your decimal 2 spots to the right, multiplied by 24.50, which would be
3.96.
Okay, so $3.92 would be our tip, and then we would, good, so add $24.50 with the $3.92, which is $28.42. Very good. Okay. We could do this technically also as a proportion. Most people find it easier to do this way, but if you wanted to, your other option as a proportion, you could do 16 over 100 is 16% is equal to T over 24.50. And if you find T, then that would be your tip amount, and then you would add that to the 24.50. So number 2, final bill is $51.28. This includes a 12% tip. What was the bill without the tip? So the $51.28 is basically the costs. We'll say we're eating somewhere. That would be like the cost of our meal plus a tip. So it's not drawing very well today, but if we can try to get through this drawing. We've got our cost is like 100%. And then our tip is 12%. And those two things combined is $51.28. So I don't do this a whole lot, but drawing a bar diagram like the books talked about might be a way to help you guys see what's happening here. So we have the full cost of the meal plus our tip is $51.28. So if you look at this, what's happening, you can see what percent do we have altogether? 112%. So we can say 112% of the bill, that meaning the bill before the tip, is $51.28. So maybe from our bar diagram we can picture that that's what's happening. 112% of the bill is $51.28, and then we can make that into an equation. So equation, the percent we would change to a decimal, which would be
1.12.
Okay, 1 1200ths of means multiply the bill. That's what we're trying to find. The bill before the tip is means equals $51.28. So that gives us an equation, and then in order to solve the equation we always do the opposite operation. So looking at our variable, what's happening? They're multiplying, means we need to divide. Good. So we're going to divide by 1 and 1200ths. We're dividing by a number that's bigger than 1, so our answer should be getting smaller. And then we'll just round that off to the nearest cent here. It doesn't come out quite evenly. So $45 and $45.79 should be to the nearest cent when we divide that out. Another option on this problem, we could do a proportion. If you did a proportion on this, you could do something like 100% compared to 112%. The 100% is what we're trying to find, so you could do a C there. The 112% would be like the $51.28. And then if you wanted to, for solving that, you could say they're dividing by 51.28. You could multiply by 51.28 on both sides in order to find that answer. Number 13, you go to a restaurant and order $137.61 worth of food because you are hungry. You decide to tip the waiter 18%. You also have to pay a tax of 6.5% on the original bill. What was the final cost of the meal? So this kind of just varies, but a lot of times when you do a tip, you do that off of the price before the tax. Some people don't really pay attention and they just have the tax on it and then they tip that full amount. But so what we would have to do on this problem, we'd figure out our tip. We're going to do 18% of $137.61. And we're just going to round that off. $24.77 would be our tip. And then we're going to figure out our tax.
Wait, how many?
That was $24.77. And then the tax, 6.5% of the $137.61. Since we're doing them both off of that same amount, this case, it's a rare case, we actually could have combined those together. That would be $8.94. Bless you. And then we would just add those amounts together. $137.61 plus our tip plus our tax would give us our total is $171.32. And like I said, in this case, actually, if we do the tip off of the price before the tax, 18 plus 6.5 is 24.5%. We could have just done 24.5% of the $137.61 and then added that on. Would have been less steps involved.